Eddie Alvarez. What's up, my man? How are you?
I'm excellent, man.
Here we are.
Been waiting for you to come, yeah.
You didn't think I was gonna come?
You're a man of your word.
Admit it, admit it.
You're a
Deep
man of your
down,
word.
you doubted me. You didn't think I'd come to your home turf.
I thought you were a New York guy and you wouldn't have him in Philly, and now you're here.
But here we are, North Philadelphia. We're in Kensington,
Yeah,
which is where you grew up.
born and raised.
This is one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in all of Philadelphia, right?
Anywhere you go in the world, Kensington is
World renowned.
abundant and rich, and here we are now.
Well, we are so excited to be here. There's so much going on in your life. Of course, you just became UFC lightweight champion. You're all over the news. There's a lot to talk about, but we wanted to start where you actually grew up. And this is a very important block in the history of your life, right?
Absolutely.
What's right over there?
That's my house I grew up in.
That one right there.
The
corner house.
The corner house, so it wraps around and goes right down to Cornwall Street as well. So we're on, it's technically on G Street, but G in Cornwall.
How many years did you live there?
From about 3 years old to about 21 years old,
Wow.
something like that.
And in a nutshell, what's it like growing up here in Kensington?
It was tough neighborhood. Most people know it. That's where Rocky was filmed, where Last Creed was filmed. But boxing gyms on every corner. It's a tough neighborhood, fighting neighborhood.
Right. Is it fair to say that growing up in this neighborhood kind of shaped who you are today? Maybe if you grew up in somewhere else, if you're born somewhere else, you're not Eddie Alvarez, UFC lightweight champion?
100%. I think as a kid, if you grow up with not a lot of resources, it forces you to become resourceful. So
Right.
I think my biggest attribute inside and outside the cage is my ability to be resourceful, to find light where there is none, to be in a dark place and know that I'm still going to come out on top. And I think I've been doing it from such a young age that it's natural to me. And I think it's my biggest attribute inside the cage.
Is it a dangerous place to grow up? Like, were you ever scared living here?
100%, yeah. What you guys don't see is we're here with SWAT team. We're here with armed guards. We're not here alone. We couldn't be here alone. So if an example would be the Lion King, the movie, we're in the elephant graveyard. This
Wow.
is where you don't go. This is where the sun don't shine.
Wow.
And this is a place you don't explore or try to find out about.
Well, let's take a walk, because we were here just for a few minutes, and it definitely, it is definitely a unique setting. What is it like for you to be here? Like, what is it like for you to actually come back here as champion to see?
It's a little bit bittersweet, because in my life now, things are going real well.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, at one point, this wasn't kind of like this. It was good, and then it started to change a little bit. This used to be a Catholic school. Now I don't know if it even exists anymore. I think the doors are closed.
Wow.
Maybe only one. When I was like 8 or 10 years old, maybe only one house was caged. Because, whatever. Now almost every other house is caged completely.
Why is it caged?
They cage them so they don't get broken into.
Okay.
So they lock themselves basically in a cage, so nobody can take their shit. That's just it just progressively sort of deteriorated.
Has it gotten worse?
It's gotten, yeah,
Really?
100%.
So when you're here, do you almost feel guilty being here? Like, you're the guy who made it, you're the champ. You got out, but here these people are still caged in. Do you feel weird about it?
I don't, because I think it's important to come back here and talk to the younger kids and let them know my story. Let them know that I grew up right there in that house. I sat on that step, and although this was my reality at one point, I had an imagination. I had something greater inside my mind that I wanted, and it came true. So, sort of regardless of what my reality was, I created something in my head that I was able to look after.
What allows you to have an imagination living in a place like this as we check out your house? Like, when you're here, sometimes it's hard to see past this, right? So how did you develop that imagination?
It is. I think one of the number one things is getting outside the neighborhood, playing sports, playing athletics, and meeting people and mentors that can guide you a different way. And I've gotten to do that. I've gotten to meet great people in my life who let me know that what my situation was when I was younger isn't what it always has to be. That if you work hard and you're disciplined and you're willing to put the time in.
Stoop, right?
That's where this is my front.
You used to
step
sit
in
here.
my house. Absolutely.
When you look at this, what do you think? Do you see yourself? Do you remember?
Yeah. Hand-me-down clothes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a little weird, a little shaking a little bit. It's a little bit
What was the
weird.
biggest dream that you had sitting here? Like, the UFC wasn't a thing, right?
Yeah, I used to come out my door with some. I used to have maybe 4 boxing gloves, and I used to walk down the street here, and there's a knock from my friends, and I used to ask them if they wanted to box. My dad used to teach me how to throw some punches and everything like that. So he's asked, you want to box? And maybe someone would say no, but I would always get someone sooner or later who would box me. There was a box right here in the middle of the street.
Just in the middle of the street?
Right there, yeah. Right where that truck's at, right in the middle of the street, we used a box, and then there was no timer. If a car came down the street, then we would stop. That would be our break, and then let the car pass, and then fight again.
Are parents okay with this? They're watching you. They're fine that you just get to do whatever you want.
It was very old school.
Okay.
You settle your differences sort of in a fight, and there was boxing clubs on a lot of corners. So there'll be a boxing club, Ramblers, Front Street, Harrogate, and you joined a boxing club, and you learned how to fight. And in your off time, you box, and we competed. It was a way of life for the kids in Kensington,
right.
A lot of them. So
when you're sitting here, are you dreaming of being a boxing champion? Because MMA wasn't really popular.
MMA was not even in the realm. I begged my dad to box, and then finally around 8 or 10 years old, he let me go to Front Street Boxing Gym, and I'm gonna take you there. And when he signed the waiver for me to go, I gave him a big old hug, and I was able to start training boxing around I know I weighed 85 pounds, so I was probably about 8 or 10 years old. Something
wow.
Like that. Yeah.
How many people lived in this apartment with you?
This is actually a house. It looks like an apartment.
Okay.
This is a full house.
Okay.
And it was me. I had 2 brothers and a sister, and then my mom and dad. So there was
Was it tight quarters?
No, it's not tight. It's
good?
big, but not the best of conditions.
Sure.
I know there was a big old hole in the roof. You could see right out into the sky.
Wow.
in this room, there was a big old hole. So sometimes the birds would come in and stuff like that.
What happens if it rains?
It would rain right in the room.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble with the cops?
No.
Never?
I was a good kid.
How did you stay away from it?
I was afraid. I was a good kid. My parents sent me to a Catholic school outside the neighborhood, and I think that was a big part of the reason I was able to see different things and want more for myself, because I was able to go to see something else outside of here. And I think that's key in just sort of. I think it's key for kids in general, is just to see and explore other things, not just be a product of their environment.
Right.
And if I could do anything, it would be to sort of push something where they get outside the neighborhood, because only 3-4 miles from here is a really good place, really nice areas, safe areas. It's not far, so they don't have to go far in order to see a different way of life.
Over here. The story that I heard was that your school was around 3 miles from here, and you used to run to school.
Yeah.
So you would sprint.
I would jog. I'd put
around this route.
Yeah, I would come down here, and then I'd make a left, and then there was a block that went straight. If you go straight down to Venango, you'll run right into the school I was at. But you have to go 3 miles. So I would literally run from a bad area, and I'd go straight into the good area.
Why are you running?
I ran because I joined a track team when I was in 4th grade. I joined a track team, and my father told me that if I'm on a track team, that run. That if I wanted to get better at track, then I should make sure that I'm doing whatever the other guys that I'm going against that they're not doing. So if they weren't running to school and I decided that I'd run to school, that I'd get an edge, and then when we did meet on the track, I'd win because I had an edge on them. So my father pushed to run to school. So it was Catholic school, so I would put my clothes in my bag and I'd run with my regular clothes. And then there was an alley right near my school that I used to just get changed in the alley, put my sweaty clothes in my bag,
wow,
and then put my school uniform on, and then go in school. And as a kid, I just seen it as that's what my dad told me to do, and that's what I was doing. And so I just listened to my father, and turned out it was a little weird. As I'm an adult talking now, no other kids were doing it. It was really awkward. Like, kids would look at me like I'm weird because I was only about maybe 8 or 10 years old.
Okay.
For an 8 or 10-year-old to run 3 miles outside this neighborhood, and it was really awkward, but it was something that helped me today. It was a formula that I still follow today, that I just find out what the other guys aren't doing and I do it. So it keeps it real simple.
So everyone else here wasn't doing that, so you're doing that.
I find out what the competition is doing, what the normal is in the competition, and I make sure I do more, and I do it a bit differently, and I'll excel. I just keep it simple.
Are there a lot of famous people that came out of Kensington?
I don't believe so. Right now, the #1 boxer in the world, Danny Garcia.
Yeah, he's from here?
From right up the street.
Did you know him?
Yeah, I knew Danny growing up. He boxed right at Harrogate. He boxed at a separate club. I was at Front Street Boxing Gym. Danny Garcia was at Harrogate Boxing Gym.
When did you start dreaming about being an MMA fighter?
MMA? I'd have to say, I think I went to a show down in Atlantic City right around like 17 or 18 years old. I went to a show in Atlantic City, and I think I went with my brother and a couple friends, and I watched Matt Serra was on the card.
Okay.
I think Tito Ortiz fought, Rico Rodriguez fought on the card.
That's a UFC card?
Yeah, UFC
okay.
card.
Yeah.
And I was wrestling in high school at the time. I told my brother, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, really? Did you know anything? Like, were you following the sport at the time?
Yeah, just seen the cards on TV.
Yeah.
It was still a little like Tank Abbott-ish.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. Still, it was still a spectacle, not a sport yet. So I watched it, but I always loved combat. I always loved competing, and I think it was then I turned to my brother. I said, this is what I'm gonna do.
What does he say to you? Does he believe you?
Oh yeah. My brother's a huge fan, and
Did your family support this?
I think at the time, yeah, they were always for it. But I think at the time in my life, at 18 years old, I pretty much lived with Jamie here. We lived in that house in Kensington.
Okay.
Because my parents moved to Florida. So
really? What'd they do there?
I think they were just going through a transition in their life, and
They moved to Florida and left you guys here?
Yeah.
Did you resent them for that?
At one point I wanted to go with them because I thought that I was nervous about my life. Like, I wanted to maybe go to school and get some things together in my life. So I think at one point I wanted to go, and then it didn't work out that I went to Florida, and I just stayed here, and I got a job doing concrete work, and I split the bills with my brother and my sister, and we just kind of, look at that.
Oh wow.
Good stuff, right?
There's a needle right there. Damn. That's common?
Yeah, 100%.
Damn. Did you ever dabble in any of that?
Fuck no.
Didn't
no
touch
way.
it?
No, nothing.
Family?
Nothing ever.
Brother? Sister?
No, nobody.
How did you guys, how are you around this and never in a situation where you just even thought curiosity, you know, like,
the Catholic school.
Okay.
Catholic school, because like I said, our savior was that we went to school outside of this neighborhood, and we got to see good families, who worked hard, who we got to see a different reality. So like this was our reality where we lived, but we got to see another one that we probably chose and wanted that one more than we wanted the one we were in.
You knew that there was a way out.
We knew that there was another way, there was another life.
Right.
A lot of people who live here don't know it. You ask these kids, this is what they know. This is all they know because they'll never sort of leave here. So
does the city help? Do you feel like the city helps?
Not so much here. No.
Okay.
Here there is programs, but not here. Here needs help. Need big time help. And I think the city knows that, and maybe something will change, but for right now, you know, it's pretty much staying the same.
Do you feel like it's part of your duty now as champion, as a guy who made it, to try to help the situation here?
I do. Not just like something maybe you want to do, or maybe something that that I feel maybe sort of obligated to do. So in my success from where I'm going, if I do manage to get the resources that I get, I won't be spending it on fucking stupid cars and stupid mansions and shit like that. I'll be spending it, giving it back to a community that probably deserves it and can use it.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because even though you are champion, you don't feel like you've quite made it just yet. You haven't cashed in just yet. Now's the time to cash in, almost.
I have not. No, not. I mean, I'm not just by myself. It's me and my wife, and I have a family of 4 children. So regardless, it's hard to make enough money to support everyone and live comfortably.
Yeah.
So we haven't made excess to be able to support something else, like a program to help youth, a program to sort of build kids up and stuff like that. But it's something I think that in my future that I can be passionate about just as much as fighting, and just as much as anything else I'm doing.
Which way are we headed?
We're gonna go straight, and then we're gonna go straight down G once we hit G.
You mentioned your wife, who you've been with for around 20 years or so now?
Yeah, I've been with Jamie since I was 15, roughly. About 17 years. When I was 15, my wife used to pick me up from here. She's a drive-in, a little white girl, in her car. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to be a little nervous for her.
Wow.
She was brave, and she used to pick me up, and I used to tell her everything I dreamed and hoped of, and she believed all of it.
You used to tell her back then?
I used to tell her back then, yeah.
You're gonna be a star, you're gonna be rich?
I'm gonna have money, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I had nothing to prove, I had nothing to show her.
Right.
And the odds were that I wasn't gonna be shit.
Right.
So it would have been easy for her to say, nah, that ain't, no way that's gonna happen. But she let me talk, she let me imagine, and then she actually egged me on. She believed in me, and hey, this guy here, I used to buy the fake Nike shirts from him when I was young. You remember me, right?
Yeah, before.
You remember me?
Original, yeah.
Wait, from this stand?
Yeah, he was down that way, right? You were right down that way a little bit.
Wow.
And I used to buy the Nike, the fake Nike prints, and
wow.
Wasn't fake.
You know who this is? This is the champ.
I remember him. Was a young kid.
Champion of the world. Best fighter in the world.
Yeah, man.
Champion now?
Yeah,
He's the champ.
Tell me.
Yeah, my man.
Oh my God.
This is the king right here.
I was a little kid, tiny kid.
Yeah.
I remember.
He just got 50 shirts, he bought a lot.
Yeah, Philadelphia. That's right.
Wow. That is
Don't
amazing.
show the Nike shirt.
Thank you, brother. No, I believe you, brother.
Don't put me down.
Eddie Alvarez.
I see you, man.
He just won in Las Vegas, knocked out the champ, became the champion.
Yeah.
This is the man right here.
How long?
Maybe 2 months ago, but we're gonna win
But
again.
I saw you last month. Don't tell me when you were.
Yeah, I seen you last month. Yeah. I see you,
Cool.
brother.
Take care. Bye-bye. Nice to see you. Wow. Same guy.
Same guy, but he was down here. Yeah, he was at this store.
So you used to come here and buy your gear.
Yeah.
Trying to live the
that
life.
food market used to be a shoe store, and I used to work there for some Koreans.
Really?
Yep.
Going back to that letter,
Yeah.
you said you wrote your wife or your future wife a letter when you kind of gave up. What led you?
I don't know if I was giving up. I was getting really scared about where my life was headed
Why?
because my parents moved away, and I was doing concrete work, masonry work, to help split the bills with my siblings, and I started to think to myself that this is it. Is this what I'm gonna become?
This is your reality.
Is this life? I'm just gonna fucking do concrete, and I'm just gonna make the same money every week, and I'm just gonna get by. And I got ungodly nervous and fearful about that because I thought more of myself. I thought that I had bigger dreams, bigger hopes, and it was becoming more of a reality that that's where things would end up. And I got a little bit scared.
What's in this letter that you write to her?
I think I was telling her about that I'm scared, I'm nervous, that I'm just gonna end up being an average guy. She might even still have the lever. I'm just gonna be average, and that I always thought that there was something that I thought better of myself than just to do concrete for a living. That I thought that I can achieve something greater, and that I was nervous. I was scared because my parents moved away. I wasn't going to college, so it was. I don't know. I was at a point in my life where I didn't. And I didn't have anyone to be able to tell me, like, go here, do this. I was just sort of trying to find things out on my own.
So how'd you get out of that funk?
I started to compete again. I found MMA.
That's what got you out.
I found MMA, and I found an outlet. And although I was doing concrete during the day, I would train at night. So I found MMA, and I found something I was passionate about, that I could forget about being scared about the future and just focus on something I loved. And that was to like compete and to fight.
Did you find MMA in a basement?
Yeah. Originally, there was about 3 or 4 guys. A guy named Stephen Haig was my original coach, and he and a guy, Joe Pfeiffer, was a boxer. And there was another Muay Thai guy, and they were just training in a basement.
How did you end up in this basement?
I heard about it through a guy who came out for the wrestling team.
Okay.
Some guy came out for our North Catholic wrestling team and talked about jiu-jitsu, and he talked about fighting, and he didn't fare well in wrestling, so he told the whole team that he would tap us all out.
Okay.
So I took him up on his challenge.
How'd you do?
I end up choking him with both of my hands.
Oh my God. Strangled him.
Yeah. It was a basement like this. You see this door right here?
No.
You would like pick up the door and walk down the steps, and down there was like mats.
Wow.
And like heavy bags, and then 3 dudes just training. I thought about fighting all the time. It wouldn't leave my head. I would tell my wife today, I would tell her I had another dream. Kept dreaming about fighting, thinking about fighting all day. She's like, you got to go back. You got to call that guy who you went down the basement, call Steve Haig, and see what they're doing. And by the time I got a hold of that guy again, he was they were out of school. They were at an actual school and training. Yeah.
Do you remember your debut?
Yeah.
Did you have an amateur fight, or did you go straight pro?
No, I trained about 6 months, and I went right to pro.
When was it?
It was in 2003. I think it was like December of 2003 at the Rexplex, exit 13A, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Ring of Combat.
Yeah. And what were you thinking? Were you nervous before? Like, were you thinking, what have I got myself into?
I know I was nervous, but I already been in maybe 100 street fights before I ever got in a ring or a cage.
Yeah.
So at that time, when I was 18 or 19 years old, there was no way, and there was no way that someone could convince me that someone could beat me in a fucking fight.
Right.
No way. We could argue to the teeth that you'll never be able to tell me at 18 or 19 that someone could beat me in a fight. I wouldn't even believe it. It was the furthest thing from my mind.
Wow.
Definitely. Hey, what up, brother? Man, it's stuck. But you get
Do you
humbled.
know that guy? Or he just knows you?
I know his face,
Okay.
but he looks like he's up to no good.
Right.
Well,
By the way, what is the kind of stuff going on here? Like just so people understand.
when you see people walk by
Yeah.
with the backpacks,
Yeah.
they say they're stuck. So a lot of guys who live in it, a lot of young kids come from the suburbs. They come to Kensington and they get stuck.
Oh.
And stuck means that once you get down here and you start doing heroin, you basically it's hard to get out of. So
Okay.
you end up sort of living in Kensington, even though you don't have a house here or a residence. You just put a backpack on and you're just always scrambling. And you'll see a lot of that. You see kids with backpacks and grown men with backpacks, just freaking for walking fast as shit.
Is there a main drug here, or is it just everything?
Heroin's number one.
Heroin. And
Really
is there a
not.
lot of killing here, or is it more just drugs?
Yeah, if you talk to the guys, the officers that are
Yeah.
following us, they said about 8 kids were killed this summer alone. Kids just want to have fun and
Right.
and just be safe. I remember being young, asking my mom like, "Mom, can we move?" I didn't understand. I was a kid, so I didn't understand that you needed a certain amount of money, and that your finances need to be right. Your credit
Sure.
needs to be right in order to be able to just move. I just thought, hey, if you don't like it somewhere, you can get up and move.
So your kids live pretty well now outside of here, around 20 minutes from here. Did you ever bring them here to show them what it's like?
I did, and
What was that like?
the fire plug was on one day.
Oh.
You'll see, we'll walk past these fire plugs, and during the summer they'll have them on full blast so the kids can play in them.
Right.
So the one day I brought my kids here to play under the fire plug, they had so much fun under the fire plug. They said, "Dad, I want to move on this block." I said, "Oh, hell no, you."
Do they have an appreciation yet for where you came from, or they're too young?
They have an incredible appreciation
Okay.
for this, and I let them know about it every day, how grateful they should be, and how the world works, and how some kids don't get this. So if I do a charity event where we give out book bags or give out sneaks, I bring them with me,
Oh,
so
okay.
they can see that a book bag is something that not every kid has, or a pair of sneaks is something that not every kid has. Because if you always have it, there's a line that I have in my life that I stick to. Deprivation equals appreciation. So if a kid's not quite ever deprived of something, it's hard for him to appreciate it.
Right.
So if you come from a place where you're deprived of most things, then it's really easy going through your life to be happy and appreciate everything that's given to you. But without deprivation, you just have it all the time. It's
Right.
hard to appreciate something like water. It's in our sink.
Sure.
It's there all the time. Who the hell wants a glass of water? So it's I always say that deprivation equals appreciation. So sometimes, if you want to love something more, you want to appreciate it more, you deprive yourself of it.
I think you started something like 10-0, 9-0, 11-0, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
At what point, though, do you recognize that you can actually make a career doing this? Like, at what point is money starting to pile up where you're like, okay, I'm A, good at this, and B, I can actually make money prize fighting?
Well, at a real young age, because I realized that we got paid per ticket. That's how the business of it went.
Okay.
You got paid per
On the
ticket.
local scene.
On the local,
is
actually,
pre-
on the biggest scene
Really?
now that I think about it. You
True.
get paid per ticket. So
Right.
the more people you brought, the more you got paid,
True.
the more promoters wanted you to fight on their card.
Right.
So I peeped that really young. Like, wait. So I don't really got to be good at fighting. I just got to sell a shitload of tickets. And I just got to be able to sell a bunch of tickets. I don't have to be that great at fighting. So, but if I'm great, it's a plus. So I realized that at a real young age. So I was able to sell. Okay, yeah, come on.
Yeah, for sure. Here's Eddie Alvarez, man of the people, taking a picture with the locals.
Here, we'll do a selfie. Hold on.
I think it's on my court.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I think here just a
There you go. Now we got it. Good to go. You want?
Okay.
She's gonna send it. She'll send it to you.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, thank
Nice meeting you.
So early on in your career, you're recognizing that this is the career, right? This is not a part-time thing for you.
Yeah, because what everybody that went to my wrestling matches was starting to come to my fights, and I was winning by I was winning quickly and winning by knockout. So the first fight was like 75 people. The second fight was like 150, then 300, then 600, then 700, then like 1,000.
Wow.
So I sold. I think by the time I fought Roger Huerta in Philadelphia,
Yep.
I made a deal with Bellator that I would get like something like I wanted 40% of all my ticket sales, and out of my hand we sold 1,021 tickets.
Wow.
Out of our hand to the neighborhoods. So and then like 800 T-shirts. So on that end of it was just the more people you brought, the more you got paid, and the more promoters wanted you to fight on their card. So it's not necessarily. That's why the game today, it becomes more about how popular you are, and people get confused. They think the more popular you are, that means you're good at fighting,
Right.
and that's not the case. That's not always the case. Sometimes it just means you're popular. It doesn't mean you're good at fighting.
When you were involved in that whole sort of lawsuit with Bellator, the contract issue and all that, the negotiations.
This is where Rocky was filmed, right here.
Right here.
Yeah, this is Creed, Front Street Boxing Gym.
Oh, that's it.
This is where Creed was. Oh yeah. We'll do a selfie. Let me
With
see.
an Irish T-shirt, huh? That's an interesting
Oh
choice.
no! What are you doing, my man?
I'm not even Irish. I'm Native American.
Yeah, you got to get that shirt off.
take
We'll
it
do
off.
it.
Yeah,
We'll
okay,
do it.
thanks.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool, man.
We're okay.
Thanks a
thank
lot.
Okay, I'm okay, bro. I'm all right.
So this is it, huh?
Yeah, this is where the part in Creed where the kids are with the dirt bikes going down the street. This is the street.
So
right
they
here.
actually filmed it here.
Yeah. Might be. Actually, it looks like it's open. Let's go in.
Wait, so does the gym still exist?
Yeah.
There's no sign for it though.
Front now is right there. Front Street.
Oh, there it is.
Front Street Gym.
Wow. So this is where you came when you were an 8-year-old.
Yep.
Wow.
Right
This is your
here.
first introduction to fighting.
Yep. They might get mad, but let's just go in.
Okay.
If
We're with you.
Frank might be in here. A couple of guys might be in here.
So they actually filmed the scenes.
Looks like it's open.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the gym that it was filmed in. Right here.
Oh my.
That's
Here we go. All right, here we go. Front Street Gym.
Frank! It's Eddie Alvarez, man.
Wow.
Eddie Alvarez. Thank you, man. Thank you.
How you doing?
Frank, this is the first guy who gave me my waiver,
Wow.
my boxing waiver, and said you gotta take this home to your mom and dad, you gotta get it signed, then you gotta bring it back here.
Yeah.
I gave it back to this man. And
Wow.
I was
Do you
able
think
to
he'd
start
become a
training.
champion?
Sure. I mean, anybody can be a champion.
Sure.
You got to put your time in.
Hell
Right.
yeah.
Everybody.
He's
Oh,
the
yeah.
king. Are you seeing a lot more people interested in MMA these days?
Okay, there's a lot, but I think boxing's fading now.
Yeah.
I think that's what's
And
taking it over.
this is the new generation.
Yeah.
But
Amazing.
this here,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
in
His son. Wow.
his son, his younger son Frank is in it. He trains with Ricky and Phil Margulies in Philadelphia.
Wow. Any MMA fighters still, do they come here or is it more?
No, it's more boxing. more
Yeah,
boxing. Right. They come in here to learn how to box. Like he come in and really learn how to box.
Right.
Yeah, I would just train. I came here with boxing shoes, boxing, and only boxing. I didn't do anything MMA here.
Okay.
Just wanted to learn how to strictly box.
He was a great wrestler at one time.
That's
when they were
right.
Catholic
Yeah.
and all. You know,
When's the last time you were here, Eddie?
So I moved to Florida. I was here when I was training with Mo and Ray. So maybe like 6-7 years ago.
Wow.
I was with Mo and Ray. Well, I think the Roger Huerta fight, we were still here.
Okay.
So I don't know what the date of that was, but maybe 2010,
Okay.
something like that.
Amazing. you could feel the history just coming out of the
This
walls.
thi-
right?
this gym is legend. This gym will never die. It's I came here when I weighed 85 pounds. You come in, you sign your name, and you put your weight right here. Look, it's still here.
Wow.
Come in here, boom, put your name in, put your weight. I'm gonna put one right here.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Alvarez.
Pay dues.
You gotta pay your dues, 180.
Or
And you don't for the kids they don't pay. They just the
Oh, really?
pros and just the adults pay. They don't. Frank lets the kids just train.
wow.
And it's a place to get off of the streets and get in here and learn something good.
Ain't like it used to be.
Yeah.
But you couldn't move in these gyms at
Really?
the time. Now, you're lucky you get at night maybe about 15 kids, but eventually it's going to pick up.
Yeah.
It's picking up.
Well, hopefully they do a UFC event headlined by you here as champ. I feel like that would be huge for the.
We do that in Philadelphia. We do all the media right here.
Oh my gosh, could you
Do all the
imagine?
media right here in Front Street Boxing Gym. That'd be great.
Incredible.
That's crazy.
Thank you for letting us come in.
Anytime,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
anytime you wanted to come
I
in,
appreciate
come in.
it, Frank.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And you see that picture on the way down.
Okay,
Yeah.
Turn the light on.
We'll pop by. Tell Frankie to hit me up on online.
Okay, buddy.
You know what I mean? Thanks
Thank
again, Frank.
Wish you luck, Frank.
You too.
What's it like to come back and see this?
Oh, this is. I'm beyond happy right now.
Really?
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Bodog.
Look at that. Eddie Alvarez, Matt Lee, July 14th, Trenton, New Jersey. That is something.
That is so
Did you-
cool.
How many years did you train here for?
I came here when I was about eight or 10,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like consistent. I would come back, but when I was training in Bodog, them years I came back here and I was training with Howard C. Mosley, one of the best boxing trainers in Philadelphia. Him and my training partner was Ray Robinson, and we used to spar here and work out.
And that was
right here.
Frank?
Frank's the owner of the gym.
Was he there back then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Frank was the first. That's funny. He's still sitting there because when I was 8 years old and went up them steps, he was sitting right where he was.
Wow, that
Same
is
exact.
surreal. I wanted to ask you about a question I was about to ask you before we saw the gym. When you were involved in that issue with Bellator, was there ever a point where you thought about not fighting anymore, like that it broke you, or did you think that it was always going to resolve itself?
No, I thought it would resolve itself. I thought at the very least I would just have to re-sign, put a couple more years in before I ever got to the UFC. But worst case scenario was I'd still be fighting. I'd still be doing something I loved. I wouldn't have to work a job, and I'd be able to fight for a living. That worst case scenario. I wouldn't be able to get what I wanted at that time, but I'd still be able to get a check and fight for a living.
And then you finally come to the UFC and you lose your debut.
Yeah.
Was that devastating?
Yeah.
Was that the lowest moment of your career at that point?
For about 6 days, yeah. Because
You were in a funk?
Because about 6 days, I was like, I don't want to say that, like, because I got a lot of stuff like, oh, you champion Bellator, but you won't, the fans saying, oh, you won't make it in the big leagues. That's what they called, it won't make it in the big leagues. But I beg to differ. For a long time, I begged to differ, and then I went in my first fight, and I didn't fight to my potential, and I lost, and I got pissed at myself, really pissed at myself, and I wrote myself a letter, I forgave myself, and I got the fuck back in the gym and moved on.
So you wrote a letter to yourself?
To myself.
You like writing these letters? Is this a constant thing? You told me about the one to your wife, future wife.
Yeah.
You wrote one to yourself. What did you write? Was it Eddie writing to Eddie?
It was Eddie writing to Eddie, yeah. It's a little weird, huh?
What were you writing?
You think I'm a weirdo?
No, I like it. I love this.
I just wrote what I felt went wrong in the fight, what I felt I could have did differently, where I could have excelled better, what things I needed to work on, and most of all, that I would never let it happen again, ever. That I'd never let the mistakes that I made happen again. Without getting into detail, that's just sort of...
What mistakes?
Without getting into detail.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I was my true self.
You can't hold back on me now. We're letting it all out.
This is what I felt. I felt like I was trying to fight and do what other people expected of me rather than just be myself and go out there and fight the way I normally do.
Okay.
So I was more concerned with people's expectations than I was about just being myself and enjoying fighting, which is when I excel the most. When I'm able to feel like I'm not being judged, just go in there and enjoy the moment and be myself. That's when I put on my best performances ever. But I came into the UFC with all these expectations. I listened to them a little too much, and I tried to fight in a manner that was
That wasn't you.
wasn't me.
That wasn't Kensington.
Was yeah.
And
if you
then,
say
and then
that.
you get to Mexico City.
Mexico
and
City, yeah.
Perhaps like symbolic of your life, you have to overcome massive obstacles, right? You blow your nose, your eye explodes, orbital, right?
Yeah. So 2 minutes into the fight, I get my nose broken.
You're fighting Gilbert Melendez, which is the fight, right? That's the fight we were talking about. That was the two non-UFC champions for all these years. You finally get to settle the score.
Yeah, and going in, the idea was, let's battle, let's put it all on the line, let's give the fans a war that they'll never see. And unfortunately, it became a fight for survival for me inside the cage, because I couldn't see, my nose was broken, my orbital was broken. Gilbert ended up testing positive for steroids. It was a terrible situation that happened 2 minutes into the fight that I needed to adjust and just sort of win the position battle and make sure I win the position battle of the fight rather than put on an exciting fight and that the fans wanted to see. So it was an adjustment that had to be made in order to win the fight.
Were you proud of that win, even though it wasn't a flashy win? It wasn't, a dominant win. Were you proud that you overcame that and got the nod?
Yeah, I was. It was, in essence, who I am as a fighter.
Right.
That when there's complete darkness, when you literally can't see, I can find a little bit of light and find a way to win, find a way to come out on top. So I really couldn't gauge distance. I didn't know whether Gilbert was 3 feet from me or 5 feet from me. It was very difficult. So I just needed to touch him and get my hands on him and win the position battle. So.
And that leads to Pettis. And I remember sitting next to you on the Fox desk after that fight, and you were like, you weren't even sure how to feel about the fight, because you were kind of getting criticized that it wasn't like you did exactly what you had to do to beat Anthony Pettis that night, but yet the fans wanted more. They wanted Rock'em Sock'em Robots. They wanted something flashy, and it felt like you were happy with the win, but you were also sort of conflicted.
I was. I wrote to myself about that.
You did? After that fight?
About how conflicted I was, yeah.
Wow. Why? Because you executed the game plan?
Yeah, but you have to win. Winning's important, but you can't ignore what the fans want. You can't tell the customer what they want. You need to appease the customer. You need to make the customer happy. And so there needs to be a balance, and I didn't have the balance. For me, the fight was all win. Just win, win, win. There was no balance. So although I know with the right strategy I can beat this guy, this is a business. You can't be the type of fighter that says, I don't give a fuck about what the fans want. I just want to win. You can't be that guy.
Right.
You can, but you can't make a living doing this.
Right, you'll never advance.
With that attitude. So I needed to hear what the fans wanted. I needed to listen to them. And most importantly, I needed the right guy in front of me to put on that exciting fight. And I think Rafael Dos Anjos was that right guy.
So it's interesting that you say Rafael Dos Anjos is that guy, but when you beat Pettis, you didn't get the golden ticket right away. You kind of had to wait to see how some things, Conor was supposed to fight RDA. RDA gets injured, and Khabib is out, and there's no one really on a great winning streak. Like, a lot of things kind of had to go your way to get that title fight.
Yeah.
You sort of had to sweat it out a little bit.
I did, because I think
let's be honest, you're coming off of two like not really Eddie Alvarez-like performances too.
Yeah, decision wins, but it was. I think my strategy wasn't the best, because coming in, my strategy was if I just beat number 5, number 3, number 1, that they got to give me the title shot. I'll be a mandatory because I beat the best guys.
Right.
But that's not sort of the strategy that people play these days. People play fight the right style matchups, get vicious, ridiculous finishes and knockouts, and the ranking of the opponent doesn't matter. That's the game that's played today. I played an old school game, and I kind of paid for it, because when you fight a guy who's the best in the world, very tough to finish a guy like that.
Yeah.
Very tough to put on an exciting fight against a guy where there's small margin for error. So the fans don't necessarily, the best two guys who go up against each other in the world doesn't always make for magic.
Sure.
Because the guys are so evenly matched. So I played that game. I didn't finish the fights, and so I didn't get it right away.
It was amazing to listen to your interview in the cage that night, because you were giving props to everyone.
Yeah.
To Mark Henry, to your training partners, to your coaches, to your family. You were just giving props to everyone. Do you remember that feeling, what it was like, and was it like what you thought it was going to be like? When Dana put the belt around your waist for all these years.
It was surreal. It was a promise fulfilled. It wasn't a selfish thing, because it was a selfless thing, because for me, the biggest people that I didn't, by winning that belt, that I knew was going to benefit was my children. Not financially, not any other way than they got to see something manifest from the beginning.
Right.
Where it was just a thought, and then became an action, and then became something in real life. And that was like a lesson that I was able to teach my children, for them to say to my kids, work hard, have an image of what you want to do, work hard at it, and don't quit, and watch it manifest eventually. Be patient and watch it manifest eventually. And I was able to do that, and that was the coolest part of the whole thing, was being able, my sons, to be able to see it and see it in real life.
When they were younger, didn't you have a board in your house where you told them to put all these pictures of things that they wanted, that they dreamed of?
Yeah.
Throw whatever they want from a magazine, throw it up there.
You get a poster board and cut out, get a couple magazines, throw them on the floor, and you cut out everything, no matter what it is, no matter how detailed. If you think it's stupid, cut out everything that you want out.
Where'd you come up with that idea?
There was something called The Secret. I think it was a video called The Secret and a book called The Secret, which inspired it. But also just imagery in general was a big part of my life. It was a big part of my life, and seeing things manifest. Just seeing the image of it first, concentrating on the detailed image of it before it actually happens. That it's important. It happens. It's maybe it sounds crazy, but it's happened for me in my life.
Did you put the UFC belt on that poster board?
I don't believe so.
Why not?
I put a ranking on that poster board.
You did?
I put my face next to number 1 in the world.
Wow. So that came true.
Yeah, I put a certain kitchen, the way I liked my kitchen, put that on there, like nice cabinets and granite. And I remember putting a really nice kitchen on there. I put my ranking. I said I wanted to fight for $1 million, which hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
But I think we're touching the surface soon.
Yeah. How many of the things would you say that were on that board, how many of those things have become fulfilled?
We're about 80% there.
Wow.
So it's about time to make a new board.
Yeah. That's right.
It's about time to make a new board.
Which way should we go?
Great.
So you're 80% there. You haven't gotten the $1 million fight yet, but it feels, at least to me, here we are on a Friday afternoon, early September, like you're on the cusp of getting that fight. Because the talk is that they might do you versus Conor McGregor. Now,
It's a rumor.
is there anything you could tell us about this? Have you been offered the fight? Where are we at with it?
No, we're not anywhere just yet. Just rumors, talks, news headlines. No, nobody's given a call or anything like that. And I've said I've said in plenty of interviews that I think it'd be a little bit foolish to do so.
To take the fight?
To take the fight, I think.
Why?
Because when I look at the history of the opponents that were picked, it's not me. I'm not a typical opponent that this man would pick.
Oh, you're saying it's foolish on his part?
Foolish on his part. And his yo, 100%. I'll take the fight.
Well, don't tell him it's foolish then.
Yeah, no.
Let them think it's easy.
Yeah, well, it's just me being honest. That's
Do you
all.
think he'll take it? Do you think he'll get that fight next?
I don't know. It's honestly, it's not.
You're the dreamer.
If it was up to me, I think it could happen. But I think it's up to the powers that be, and we'll let them do their job, and I'll do my job and get ready.
What does Conor represent to you? Does he represent that $1 million fight? Does he represent selling out MSG, headlining MSG? Does he represent a change of life? Or is he just a guy?
I think he's a guy who's fortunate enough to have a loyal country on his back.
You respect him?
Yeah, I respect everybody who makes a walk to the octagon, but where we differ is I'm more about what's real, and I think he's more about perception. And this game is changing. I'm watching it change. The game of MMA is changing, and because the business is coming before the sport now, the perception is becoming more important than what really is. And this is why I say I don't think they'll take the fight, is because if the perception's most important, then you don't try to beat the best guy in the world. You don't go after me. You go after the guy who looks like the best guy in the world but really isn't. So. But
you said that it's an easy fight for you. You said that Conor would represent a break.
A break. So in a sparring room, there's always a guy, we call him the rest round.
He's the rest round?
He's the rest round. He's the guy you grab when you're super tired and you go, hey, come on, man, let's do a round. To me, to the level of guys that I compete with, the level of guys that I fought in my life, and the level of guys that I train with every day, he comes to our gym and trains, he's the rest round. For everyone, not just me, for Frankie, for Edson, for Marlon, for any one of us.
So when you watched him against Nate Diaz, you didn't feel like, all right, I respect this guy, like he dug down deep, he went 5 rounds? Because I saw you tweeting after, don't bring that weak stuff to the lightweight division. You were not impressed.
I was impressed by like about 7 minutes of it.
The first 7 minutes?
About the first 7 minutes, and then it all looked really sloppy and didn't look of championship caliber to me. It didn't look like a guy who spent $300,000 on a training camp. I could have did that shit for $5.
Right.
What just went on there? I think he could have spent a lot less and got a lot more.
We're going this way, right?
Yep, straight.
Your coach, Mark Henry, gets very upset when they talk about finishing you in the second round and just sort of dismissing you. Do you share the same sentiment? Do you get fired up at that stuff as well?
No. It's comical. It's laughable to me. It's laughable for a guy like him to say he'd finish me. That's just that's what he says.
Do you feel torn at all? Because like a lot of people would agree that Khabib Nurmagomedov is the #1 guy, but he's now saying that you're ducking him if you're taking the Conor fight. Like, do you feel like Khabib, in a perfect world, when we're talking about reality and rankings and things, that he should get that fight?
Nah.
No? Why?
Because you gotta fight. You gotta fight.
Active?
You gotta be active. You can't tell your boss, hey, I'm taking off because I'm not gonna eat and drink and I'm gonna pray and stuff like that. You can't do that. So you can do that, but if you do that, there's gonna be repercussions. So, because there's going to be guys who don't do that, who are active, who are going to put the sport paramount and first in their life. And the guys who do that are going to reap the rewards from it. And the guys who decide to go the other route there's going to be repercussions. And the repercussions are, you get an opponent who nobody knows, and you're not active, and therefore you're not relevant. So that's his own being. That's his own fault. Why he was doing all that? I was fighting. I was putting fighting first, and I was fighting the best guys, not.
So you don't think he deserves it?
I think a couple more fights. I don't know what's deserved or not. I don't think there's a lot of guys in UFC who don't deserve what they get. So it's not up to me who says who deserves what and who gets that. The UFC makes these decisions. We all knew that.
Do you think your life changes if you fight and beat Conor McGregor?
Hell no. My life's beautiful right now. Will we have more money? Yeah. But life change? What do you mean by that? How my life change?
Want more money?
More money.
More things?
That's all it changes. More money.
It.
That's it. You're not going to change around here.
So you're not the guy who's going to campaign and call up the UFC and say, I want this fight, and you're the Philly guy, and we've got MSG coming up, and he's the you're not doing any of that. You're just sitting back.
I'm the champion.
Right.
I have the title.
Right.
People want what I have. I'm not begging for anything for anybody. If this guy wants this title, he can come get it.
How do you think that fight goes?
Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
Fight? I don't see past the 8-minute mark. I don't see anything but being dominant. I think he can do well because it's easy to be technical. In the first round or two, it's easy to be technical. But when the shit hits the fan, it turns into a fight. I will fucking dominate this guy every step of the way. When it turns into, when he's a little bit tired and he has to dig down, it's over. It's all over.
You think he lacks heart?
I feel like if this fight's signed and it happens,
yeah.
I feel like I'm about to tell the whole world that there's no Santa Claus, and everybody's gonna be disappointed.
He's a fraud.
There's no Santa Claus. He don't exist. It was a lie, and I'm gonna steal the magic from everyone. The magic's gonna be gone, and I can't wait. It's gonna be a great time for me.
Well, you gotta find out pretty soon, though, right?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, we're not far away. MSG is, where are we? 10 weeks away today. So we should find out pretty soon.
And when we talk about a big fight like that, and here we are, where you grew up and the hard times, I mean, at what point do you feel like this is all going to pay off, the whole fight? Because you said you still don't have the resources. Like, do you think it's going to take 5 more years of being a champ? Do you think it's going to take 2 more years? At what point can you comfortably say this whole thing paid off, and you made it, you're out, you're comfortable for your 4 kids, your wife? You know what I mean? Do you have a plan in place? I
don't know if it's an amount of things where I'm gonna say it's paid off. I think it's just gonna be a feeling.
But that doesn't. That's not here yet.
No, it's not here because I still have a lot of competitive fire in me. I still have a lot of guys that beat in front of me, and I feel like this is a privilege. This is a privilege, and as long as I'm privileged to do this, I'm gonna do it. I'm very honest with myself. If I feel like I can't compete with the best guys in the world, I'm gone. And if I feel like I can't do it without some kind of substance or someone, I'm gone. I'm not hanging in here doing something that I can't do naturally. So I'm very honest with myself, and as long as I can compete and with the best guys in the world and I can beat them, I'm gonna do it. This is a blessing for me.
How many more years do you think you want to do it for?
It was never a plan.
It was never a plan.
It was never a plan to do this shit in the first place. So I'm not gonna begin planning now.
Is life good as champion though?
Excellent.
I know you talked about
getting... Let's go without being champion. I got a wife who loves me and 4 children at home. Life, I'm
getting
rich.
more free stuff now, right?
I'm rich.
That's right. It's almost poetic to hear you say I'm rich here.
Yeah.
Where no one can really say that, right?
Rich ain't amount of money, it's a feeling.
That's
and
right.
I'm rich, I'm truly rich.
And you say Conor McGregor has a whole country, but look what you have behind you. And I kind of feel like if you do get that fight, and if it gets the mainstream attention and you get the mainstream attention that you deserve, that these people will be behind you as well, and that you can give back to them like you want to.
100%. 100%.
Amazing. Well, thank you for bringing us here, man.
Yeah,
what a pleasure.
You guys coming.
We came out here and saw where you grew up and where Eddie Alvarez became Eddie Alvarez. A huge honor for us. So thank you very much, and good luck to you, my man. Congrats again.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Eddie.